Starting with the proceedings, I'd like to introduce our resource person, Dr. Ajay Verma. Dr. Ajay Verma is an eminent academician and scholar, and he's working as Assistant Professor, Department of Postgraduate Studies, Punjabi University Regional Center, Bathinda. His major specialization is post-colonial studies, while minor specialization is language and linguistics. His areas in research guidance include indigenous literatures, post-colonial literature, and cultural studies. He has many research publications in national and international journals and has approximately 50 articles on social issues in national newspapers. So his today's topic is foregrounding of post-humanism, foregrounding of technology and new universal consciousness. On the behalf of SGTB Khalsa College, I welcome Dr. Ajay Verma to this virtual FDP. Hope we all will gain deep insights into the world of post-humanism. Now it is over to Dr. Ajay Verma. You are welcome, sir. It is over to you now. Thank you.
Well, good morning, everyone. Principal, Shri Guru Tegh Bahadur Khalsa College, Professor Dr. Jasbir Singh, Professor Gurpreet Kaur, who heads the Department of English at Shri Guru Tegh Bahadur College, Professor Dilsher, Professor Baljeet Channa, other members of the English department, participants in the faculty development program being organized by this college. My greetings to you all. Very good morning to all of you. First of all, I'd like to request the organizers to confirm whether my voice is reaching you audibly, and am I perfectly audible, or do I need to
Yes,
raise my pitch?
No, sir, you are audible, sir.
Audible. Just one personal request. I have just recovered from a bout of flu, and by the grace of God, I could recover well enough to interact with the participants of this FTP according to the program today. So I don't think I will be in a position to speak very long. I mean, it will not be as extended a lecture as one given by Sushminder Kaur Madam, but I will, I will use my vocal cords to the best of my abilities, and because it is my duty, but more than my duty, I think it is a privilege offered to me by my very dear friends from Shri Guru Tegh Bahadur Khalsa College to be a part of this FDP and share my views, thoughts, ideas with you. In fact, I am really impressed with the participation in this program. I was, as Dilsher mentioned, I was there right through the last session. I was listening to, and I must say, I am deeply impressed with the number of participants, and it is quite apparent that people from all corners of India and even from places outside India have chosen to be a part of this faculty development program. This bears testimony to the interest of the fraternity in the subject. It bears testimony to their commitment to improve their proficiency and their knowledge, and it bears testimony to the fact that a very dynamic and energetic team is behind this organizing the program for all of us. First of all, I thank the organizers, as I have said, for roping me in and for giving me an opportunity to share my ideas and views with a very large number of professors from all over India. It is a rare privilege for anyone. And before I introduce my topic to you, I think this is also by virtue of the advancements in technology and science that such programs can be organized. Let us not go into how online interaction started during COVID. We all are very familiar with it, and just let me uh, cut the long story short by saying that as far as COVID was concerned, the challenges of COVID were translated into opportunities by human beings. I think you will all agree with me. And we have been, using these opportunities. We converted challenges into opportunities. And those opportunities are now today have become an integral part of our lives. This is how, see, the faculty development programs, which used to be organized in closed rooms, are now being organized in open forums. And we are getting an opportunity to extend the boundaries of such programs. So with this, I would seek your permission to begin my presentation. My major area of specialization happens to be, as was said in the introduction, post-colonial literature. Today, I chose to speak on post-humanism because post-humanism as a subject today fascinates everyone, including me. Just because I was present right through the last presentation, and many interesting questions in the after the session came to an end were asked by participants. One of the questions was whether we need to revisit partition literature. My answer, I would just, because my specialization is post-colonial literature, I was tempted to say one or two things before I begin my presentation. That whether we revisit it or not, that is another issue. But silence is not an answer to any problem. So we cannot ask people to be silent about something that happened. Every writer has a right to to say something, to intervene, and to write about the experiences of individual or collective humanity, okay? And give expression to those experiences in one way or the other. So reducing it to a simplistic question of whether revisiting trauma would create disharmony, I think is kind of uh, placing curbs on artistic freedom. So let me first of all introduce my topic to you, please. Yes. So I hope the slide is visible to everyone. Am I
It's
also
visible,
visible?
sir. It's visible.
Yeah,
I see
visible.
both in my picture.
Yes, sir, it is visible and you're perfectly audible.
Thank you very much. So the topic is post-humanism, foregrounding of technology and a new universal consciousness. Please.
Okay.
So first of all, let me introduce this topic to you. Post-humanism is a term, as a term, first and foremost refers to the need to rethink human, mainly as a result of technology-driven changes that have led to an almost unprecedented transformation of human life. At a second level, it is an outcome of the emergence of critiques of humanism as a discourse and as an ideology. Humanism is viewed as a flawed philosophy by those who have been excluded from its privileges, or who are seen to lack some of its qualifying traits on the basis of such factors as race, gender, location, and culture. It is an ideology of the dominant groups which has its provenance in the West. The present presentation is an attempt to mainly deal with technology driven post-humanism and try to come to terms with its various implications. So, stop sharing. So this is the topic. As I said, this 35 or 40 odd minute presentation, which I am sharing with all of you, all the members of the teaching fraternity today, okay, is basically aimed to be a very general discussion on the term post-humanism. Now, post-humanism is a term which is quite in vogue these days, and I have no hesitation in saying that the fascination or the interest in the term is or it arises more from some misillusions related with this term. So first of all, my aim is to clear those misillusions and clear those illusions and place the term in the right context. So post-humanism, as I said, basically is linked with two things, as the first slide tried to indicate. Post-humanism is linked with two things. One is the need to come to terms with a very inordinate and unprecedented transformation of human life as a result of the overwhelming invasion of technology. This is one. I said the unprecedented transformation of human life, the need to come to terms with the unprecedented transformation of human life as a result of the overwhelming invasion of technology in human life. We are passing through a phase in our lives when technology has overtaken almost every dimension of our lives. So this experience tends to create many confusions in our minds. One. Second, there has been a tradition of, during the 20th century and during our times in the 21st century, there has been a very long tradition of critiquing humanism. There are certain central assumptions of humanism around which our life has been organized. Somebody asked Madam Shushminder, what is it that that turns a man into a beast? My answer would be that when we abandon certain basic ideals of human living, such as our duty to be kind and to be sympathetic to our fellow human beings, we turn into beasts. As simple as that. So we have been living during the during the, you know, uh,
अच्छा
du-
रात
du-
को देखो सर्वजित भी होती गई थी है ना अच्छा बहुत ही बढ़िया हो गया ना
I think there is somebody's mic is on.
Madam, you kindly mute.
Yes. So we have been, during the last 2-3 centuries, as far as our modern experience as human beings is concerned, okay, we have been a part of a world where we have uh, tried to adhere to certain basic assumptions of humanity and humanism. So this is my starting point. One, in a technology dominated world, how do we rethink our life? This is what post-humanism is about. First. Second, the basic assumptions of liberal humanism or humanism in a general sense have come under criticism. They are being interrogated. So there is a need to correct those shortcomings, deficiencies, limitations, whatever you call it, in the ideals of liberal humanism, and conceive of, rethink humanity in new ways. So this is my starting point. Let us go on to the next slide, please. And I know we are in an online presentation. There is a very large number of participants, and in such a environment, we cannot guarantee 100% participation. But all those who are attending this lecture, kindly feel free to intervene and to, uh, to ask or comment on our discussion. Let it be a kind of a dialogue and not a monologue from my side. So the main argument is that, should we look at post-humanism as a threat? First of all, I try to negate this idea and dispel this, notion that post-humanism is a threat to any one of us. My main argument is that, as part of a common but mistaken response to the term post-humanism, we find that generally people approach the term in a negative way and tend to give it pejorative associations. There are three reasons for this. Okay, I have this is based on my personal experience. I have seen people writing, I have seen people lecturing, I have seen people discoursing and blaming technology in for in some way having destroyed life or having curtailed the possibilities of human life. So there are three reasons. One, that people, for some the term may signal some kind of a threat to the category of humans. Two, the term resonates in the most common jeremiads against the invasion of technology of life. And third, there is a suggestion that our over-dependence on technology is creating a wedge between man and man on one hand and man and nature on the other. There is also a feeling that the centering of technology will reduce the possibilities of human life. So please, my so there is a general perception that post-humanism is something negative because of four reasons. One, that human species is facing some kind of a threat. Two, that over-dependence on technology will curtail, reduce the possibilities of life. Three, that technology is driving a wedge between man and man on one hand and man and nature on the other. These are the common objections which we people come across these days, okay, when we try to rethink human life in the age of technology, when we have smartphones, when we are dependent on PCs and laptops, when we are 4G and we are using 4G and 5G, okay, internet, and all. Somebody is saying my presentation not visible. Am I not visible?
Sir, the PPT that we were showing is not visible to me anymore, sir.
I have removed it, and
Okay, sir. Okay,
I
sir.
will
I'm sorry.
keep,
I'm sorry.
yes, I will keep switching between the PPT and my own. Is it okay, madam?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Thank you,
Okay.
sir. Thank you for clarifying.
So there are three grounds on which post-humanism is perceived to be something negative. Technology is going to overwhelm us. It will drive a wedge between man and nature, and our over dependence on technology will somehow curtail the possibilities of life. ऐसा अक्सर आजकल सुनने को मिलता है, देखो जी टेक्नोलॉजी ने हमें क्या बना दिया. तो I basically
how do you
want to
connect this?
contest this and want to say that technology may have done a lot of harm to human beings. Okay, we have seen how pesticides have contaminated the groundwater, how we are over exploiting our natural resources, but that has to be counterbalanced with the indispensability of technology. Only then can we reach the right position. Please. Next.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
So is this what we are talking about in literature in post-truth? The age of post-truth.
Who is this? Can you please tell me your name?
Sir, I'm Dr. Somali Gupta, and I'm from the Government Arts and Science College.
Yes. Professor Gupta, thank you for your very insightful intervention. I should say that obviously I will be relating all this to literature. That is my duty.
Right, sir.
Okay. And your point that do we relate this to post-truth? See, from truth to truth claim, that is the transition we have made. In some ways it is good and some ways it is bad. Okay. I think I will somewhere in this try to answer this question. Okay. But at the same time, it is my humble submission to you and to all people like me who are today attending this lecture, okay, that let us not be overly, overwhelmed by these fanciful terms which are being sent to us by Western writers and scholars. Basically, I do not actually agree with the idea of post-truth. I have based my lecture on a book called Posthumanism by Stephen Herbrechter, and I have loosely borrowed from, I will not mention the names. I have loosely borrowed from Lyotard, from Catherine Belsay, from Yuval Noah Harari, from H.G. Wells, from Aldous Huxley, from Jameson, and from Francis Fukuyama. And let me be very honest in saying that all these people who have said one thing or the other about the future, okay, do not appeal to me as perfectly correct. So we have a right to respond to Western theory independently, and to agree, disagree, to accept, reject, the things we like. And I believe that many writers from the Western regions who are basically contributing to the field of theory, okay, do not seem to address issues with as much clarity as we would like them to. So let us look at the next slide. Now, the first slide, the third slide, posthumanism as a threat, was about the journal, perception about posthumanism as a threat. Now, this is about posthumanism at a critical level. At a critical level, technology-driven posthumanism may be seen as yet another dimension of globalization and postmodernism. The emergence of a consumerist flat world as a result of the operations of multinational capital. It is also leading us to a less diverse and more homogeneous world. Lastly, the excessive and almost inordinate use of technology can also be seen as the manifestation of the ever-expanding realm of needs, making man more and more materialistic. It is in these contexts that we need to construe the term and take a rational and responsible view of it. Now, in this slide, as opposed to the first one, okay, I am trying to highlight posthumanism at a more critical level. कुछ तो जर्नल ऑब्जेक्शंस हैं कि जी टेक्नोलॉजी तो हमारी जिंदगी बर्बाद कर देगी, टेक्नोलॉजी तो आदमी और आदमी को नेचर से दूर कर देगी. दूसरा कि at a critical, technology driven posthumanism is seen by many as yet another dimension of globalization as the operations of multinational capital. That it is basically the multinational capital which is driving this entire phenomena of a technologically oriented life. Then that posthumanism is a phase as one of the dimensions of globalization and postmodernism, where indigenous cultures face a threat and face extinction, and they will come to an end one day. And lastly, कि जो जैसे मार्क्स ने कहा था कि the realm of necessity and the realm of freedom, कि it is a manifestation that the realm of necessity is increasing without showing any signs of abating or coming to an end. हमारा जो realm of necessity है वो बढ़ता ही जा रहा है. और ये जो हमारा टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ फैसिनेशन है, चाहे आप उसको ब्रांड की सेंस में ले लो, चाहे किसी और सेंस में ले लो, कि वी आर getting deeper and absorbed deeper and deeper into this culture of excessive consumption. We are becoming materialistic in this sense that our realm of necessity, our necessities are increasing without an end. So this is critical, a critical perspective on posthumanism. Shall I move ahead if this much is clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Please, sir.
Next. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes.
I'm Laila Khan from Kashmir.
Yes.
So, can we say that this posthumanism, actually it is not that the way we talk about the word post. It is actually, we can say, in the new scenario or the contemporary, when we talk about technology, it is something how we have to maintain those human values and at the same time keeping in touch with the latest what is in digital world. So we can put it that way, sir?
Okay. Yes. I mean, it is both about what you are saying and a little more than that also. Okay. Basically, in the course of my presentation, I hope that I address the question you have raised, but the next slide will make some issues clear to you, because there are two dimensions. Can you please repeat your name?
I'm Laila Khalid from Kashmir.
Yes, Madam Khalid, actually, to put things objectively, there are, in my understanding, okay, there are two things, as this slide, which is before you, makes it clear, that there are two perspectives on post-humanism. If we take a very balanced and objective view, without falling victim to misconceptions. One, post-humanism as a need to revise the basic assumptions of humanism. One. Two, post-humanism as a way of, or as a need to come to terms with a new human technology interface. Okay, there are two perspectives or two aspects. One, कि जिस ह्यूमनिज्म को हम एडहेयर करते आए हैं, ठीक है, पिछले 300 साल में, उसमें कुछ कमियां हैं, उस ह्यूमनिज्म से आगे जाना है. दूसरा है कि जो आज की डेट में एक बहुत इंटेंस ह्यूमन टेक्नोलॉजी इंटरफेस है, हाउ डू वी नीड टू कम टू टर्म्स विद दैट. सो whether it is about values or not, that is for you to decide at the end of the lecture. So, in order to form a balanced view of this term, we first need to remind ourselves of the central assumptions of humanism as well as the nature of human technology. So, this is the second part of my presentation. Okay, what are these central assumptions of humanism which post-humanism tries to subvert or to transcend? Second, what is the nature of human technology interface? Both of them are very important, please. Let us look at the first one. Humanism is a term which is more used, and more used and less understood. It is so many things to so many people. I have tried to make a list of not all, but some aspects of humanism which I think are a part and parcel of our collective understanding of humanism. So these are the central assumptions, and let me say this right at the outset, that humanism not only challenges but overturns all these assumptions. Or I must now, you can link it to values if you want, but what I want to say is that we have reached a stage when it has become difficult to uphold these central assumptions of humanism. One, humanism in its most basic sense can be understood to be man's responsibility of making sense of the world around us, as well as the search for a universal human nature and universal human values. It is also linked with the idea of an ideal humanity, sympathetic and kind to fellow human beings. Humanism is also closely related with notions of unified subjectivity, meaningful identity. Then, under humanism, there is a general correspondence between human mind and external realities. This has experience and mind. And in most man-centric humanisms, man imagines himself, herself to be distinct from the external. Now, these are some basic assumptions under which humanism has functioned. One, that it is a man-centric ideology rooted in Cartesian ideas, that man makes a sense of the world around him, the natural world, through the exercise of reason. Then there is an attempt to to search for and define a basic universal human nature. It is also a desire for a sympathetic humanity, which believes in the ideals of kindness, of collective, of harmony and peaceful coexistence. Then there used to be, or there still is, a belief in a unified self, meaningful identity, that man is a self-contained and a unified subject, whose existence is purposeful, and most importantly, a correspondence between human mind and external realities, that our ideas correspond with the reality outside us, and we can, through the exercise, through our experience, generate an understanding of the external phenomena. Then another important assumption is that reality is believed to be transparent a priori, capable of being grasped and represented by humans. Then humanism as an ideal of anthropocentric progress towards a utopian dream of a perfect society. And lastly, humanism as a discourse which conceals the destructive side of human progress. How, in the course of our progress, we have destroyed so many things around us. So these are some basic assumptions of humanism, which we will see get subverted and overturned in post-humanism, if not all, at least some. The next part deals with the human-science interface, which is again, as I said, one of the basic features of post-humanism as we understand it today. So how do we understand human science or human technology interface? So first of all, we have to admit that scientific and technological knowledge has been integral to our existence as a species, as it can be seen as a prosthetic extension of life. We have always, right from the beginning of life, used tools to survive, to sustain life, and to perpetuate life. Then science and technology have helped us survive and battle the hostile and blind forces of nature. Then if we think in terms of reason and instinct binary, then science is based more on reason and less on insight. And human reason can be taken as one of the purest expressions of human consciousness. If the secrets of the universe are encoded in scientific principle, let's say maths and physics, then scientific progress is the most important way of understanding the world. Then often the nature-culture binary is invoked to discredit nature. But let me tell you, or I will not use that expression, tell you, let me,
Sir, your voice is not audible. Maybe due to some technical reason, we are not getting the voice of Dr. Ajay Verma. Kindly be with us. Dr. Ajay Verma is trying to reconnect.
Yes, I have reconnected.
Yes, sir. Yes, yes. It is
So-
audible, sir. Your voice is audible. Thank you.
Okay, and Dilsher, can you tell me for how long was I absent? Or...
Sir, it was just for, I think, 30 seconds.
Okay, so I mean, no. Okay, so taking our taking our clue from where we left, I was saying that there are some basic assumptions of humanism which I presented before you in the form of a list, okay, which mainly deal with the centrality of human beings in interpreting the world around us, okay, in the search and desire for a perfect society, in the you know in the search for human values related with sympathy, then the belief that reality is a priori and it is the human reason with the help of which we come to terms with this reality. And then I tried to make a list of some aspects of human technology interface. अब देखो बात ये है कि आप किचन में चाकू से लेके जब अपने लेबोरेटरी टेस्ट कराते हैं, माइक्रोस्कोप की हेल्प लेते हैं, लोगों से बात करते हैं, इंटरनेट यूज करते हैं, सो इन सिंपल फॉर्म्स और इन कॉम्प्लेक्स फॉर्म्स हम all through our lives, I should say, we are, पर जब हम नेचर कल्चर बाइनरी की बात करते हैं तो कहीं ना कहीं नेचर टेक्स प्रेसिडेंस, we begin to complain. Okay, तो एक तो my presentation takes its clue from, जिसको मैंने एक फर्स्ट और आखिरी मैंने एक मुश्किल टर्म यूज किया, जेरीमियाड्स. Jeremiads are complaints. So these jeremiads against technology, according to me, are mistaken. Okay, we are, right from the time that we begin to evolve, right from the time when we begin to live in communities, okay, we have used tools, technology, science, and यहाँ पे a small digression, go to Stephen Hawking, read about how Newtonian science, Galilean science, Einstein's ideas are linked with some of the most simple privileges we enjoy throughout our days. So,
But sir, at the same time, when we talk about
Ishaq Maneji, we are not getting your voice, and I think
in terms of that what we perceive, this our senses, what we perceive, whether that is real, that is not. But humanism has, to a large extent, laid emphasis on this reality. In terms with that reality vis-a-vis the problem.
Ishaq Maneji, your voice is not clear, and I just want to request all the participants that we should take the questions in the last, as it break the. Hello.
Ishaq ji, आप ऐसा कीजिए, you can write your answer and put it in the chat box. I will try, and because your voice is getting disrupted, maybe you are connected from Kashmir or some other part of the country. So please, Vaniji, you can write your question and put it in the chat box. I will try and answer it during the course of my presentation. Is it okay, sir? Yes, thank you. Can we go on to the next? So let us move on and not try and not digress too much. Yes. So the post-humanism and the need to redefine human. Now, at a time when tremendous scientific and technological progress has taken place and made it necessary to human life in a new perspective and destabilized our notions of time and space as well as the basic assumptions of humanism listed above. The stage of technological progress we have reached has itself contributed to the decentering of the human by showing us our insignificance in the scheme of things. We have progressed from geocentric to heliocentric to theories of indeterminacy, as a result of which our certainties related to the stabilities of time and space have been disturbed. This is, of course, linked with the popularity of non-linear, anti-realist narratives in literature. There is both a challenge as well as a subversion to the basic assumptions of humanism, and there is need to redefine the human. So one is this, that it is through science, through scientific progress, through technological developments, through the exploration of the cosmos, we have reached a stage where the decentering of the human subject, which was the central assumption in humanism, okay, has become not, I should say, it has become a necessity. Decentering of the human subject is not something which we effect as a result of our choices. Actually, decentering of the human subject has taken place because of a renewed sense of our insignificance in the scheme of things, particularly in the area of astrophysics. Okay, there has been recently, I don't want to go into that. Recently, you must have heard about the installation of the James Webb telescope, which has brought us pictures of millions of years ago. So such developments, then the realization that the world is neither geocentric, that means the earth is not the center, it is not even heliocentric, that means the sun is also not the center. Rather, the entire solar system is revolving around the center of the universe. Now there is this concept of metaverses. So the idea that human beings are capable of grasping reality and making sense of the life in terms of beginning, middle, and end, okay, has been badly disturbed. But this is not something bad. Okay? Let us not look at it as something which has put us in some kind of a crisis. No, I just take it just as another stage in our evolution, okay, which is bringing us closer and closer to truth. So post-humanists, this is just a very small point. So there is the emergence of a new consciousness in the human race. So when we look at one of the results of post-humanism, my point is that one of the outcomes of the developments taking place in science and technology, morality, values, place them on one side. But there is a keener sense that actually we are a species, that human beings are a species who have a very small history as far as the cosmic sense of time is concerned. Our history is just a few minutes as far as, and then there have been larger, there have been more important discoveries, okay, which have led to a keener and keener realization that looking at life as in a teleological sense of having a grand design may be something untenable. We are not in a position to maintain that today. So the remaining part of my presentation is divided into two parts. One is possibilities, which humanism entails, and second is the challenges and limitations. So after that, we can have our round of questions. So I will go through this as quickly as possible. So what are the possibilities? As far as the invasion of technology, science, okay, the remarkable or the path-breaking discoveries in the field of astrophysics is concerned, it is having a huge impact on human life and on the way we think. Okay, so there are a few possibilities which are encoded in this. One, today we are once again rethinking human history from a cosmic point of view, both in terms of life on the planet and life off the planet. This kind of rethinking holds the potential of showing us the flip side of human evolution related to large-scale destruction of the planet and ecosystem. It also opens up the prospect of histories that are not man-centric. This is one. Second, we need to, now this is a very important point, which I would, I would specially like everyone to internalize. This is, I think, the core of posthumanism. The historic and cultural materialist approach to technology-human interface can be enabling as transcendental metaphysical beliefs in systems. So my point is that the history of science, as far as our understanding of human life is concerned, has also been a repressed history. We have seldom been able to properly contextualize the role that science has played in human life. So rather than having a purely value-based view about science and technology, where we valorize nature at the expense of culture, okay, or which is based on some romantic notions of a harmony between man and nature, we need to have a more historic and historical and cultural materialist approach to technology-human interface, that in what senses science and technology has helped us to deal with life, and in what senses or in what ways has science and technology, okay, played a destructive role, okay, and has been an instrument for fulfilling man's excessive fulfilling the unwarranted needs of man. Then posthumanism, scientific progress, takes us towards a keener awareness of life. There is today a keener and not less awareness of the human world and the human condition. We can use this to create newer conjunctions of ecosystems and humanity, or science and humanity. As feared, posthumanism can never spell the negation of human or human consciousness or self. Rather, technological evolution can lead us to a keener sense of collective self, which has a historical, material basis and not a transcendental and metaphysical basis. This kind of consciousness may have the potential to tide over or transcend the universal, particular, and local debate. So, as I said, the advancement in astrophysics, science, and technology are leading us to a keener awareness of our place in the universe. This has led to a very, a significant development in our awareness of life. Okay, but the questions, who I am, okay, what we are, okay, these questions can never be, can never become irrelevant. This is what I mean. So, yes, a posthumanism can at the same time correct the biases and prejudices of traditional and largely patriarchal bourgeois humanism. So, as far as developments in science and technology are concerned, we have been using it for, good reasons, for collecting information and knowledge, for personal, cultural, political self-assertion. So, but there are a few problems and limitations also. When we adopt a post-humanist approach, okay, it can divert our attention from the chronic problems of the world, which we have been unable to solve till today, such as hunger, poverty, and inequality. Okay. Then technology is a tool in the hands of the multinational capital to control the markets of the world. And history bears testimony how imperial powers use technological, and we have all, experienced. We have been subjects of imperial rule in the world, and we have seen how the resourcefulness of the West led to the colonization of the entire world. So that kind of a threat obviously is there. Okay, so history bears testimony how imperial powers use technological and scientific progress to develop resources in order to establish cultural and political domination and to create an East-West divide. So, and this kind of a view runs the risk of appearing to be elitist. Moreover, access to and lack of access to knowledge is today one of the biggest reasons for increasing inequalities. Access to knowledge, just as access to space, is a matter of privilege. So I will end with three things which I have borrowed from Gandhi. Gandhi's approach to science was based on three ideas. One is that science should aim at the greatest good of humanity. Second, that growth and progress in science does not mean abandoning indigenous sciences. Indigenous science and technology is based on needs and is always eco-friendly. If we abandon indigenous technology and science, there is all likelihood that indigenous systems of science and technology will be replaced by custom-made Western systems. And lastly, what we are witnessing today, technological divide, that means access to technology, the inequalities in the world. Yes, please stop sharing. Yes, so this brings me to the end of my presentation. I am extremely sorry that I could not, dwell on certain ideas, both because I wanted to, restrict my presentation to the time allotted to me, and also because, as I've said, I have just recovered from a very bad bout of flu, and I didn't want to exert my vocal cords too much. But it has been a pleasure sharing my views and talking to such a large gathering. So, and I felt really encouraged by the interventions, by some very sagacious and some very insightful comments, which were, trickling in while I was speaking. So I think with the permission of the organizers, we can spare 5-7 minutes at least to have a round of questions.
Thank you very much, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
I think Madam Leila Khalid wants to ask a question. Yeah, ma'am.
Hello.
Yes,
Hello.
yes, I can hear you.
So actually, what you said about this post-humanism and how we can strike a balance. So, what do you think? What kind of texts are available that can save us from such, or we can read so that we can strike a balance between maintaining the humanism and at the same time taking recourse to technology, and which is very necessary during these times. Please.
Okay. See, I have already said that my presentation was loosely based on
Uh, all are requested to
my
keep
reading
their
of
mics
John
on mute.
Lukács.
जी बाजी
Yes, yes, madam. As I have said, I have already during my talk, I did mention that I loosely built my presentation on Lyotard, Catherine Belsay, then but very popular books by Yuval Noah Harari. One is Homo sapiens. These are part of popular literature, but they are very good. Okay. Then I am actually a student of Jameson, Frederick Jameson. So whether it is his political unconscious or the cultural logic of late capitalism, I was referring to those also without mentioning the names. Then Francis Fukuyama, our postmodern future, post-human future, consequences of the bio. So the basic idea, madam, is कि ये कहना कि हम रोबोसेपियंस बन जाएंगे, हम साइबॉर्ग्स बन जाएंगे, हम ट्रांसह्यूमन हो जाएंगे, हमें आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस ओवरटेक कर लेगी. I don't see any possibility of any such thing happening. ऐसा कुछ नहीं होने वाला. हम ह्यूमंस हैं, हम ह्यूमंस ही रहेंगे. हाँ, the important thing is to the balance I was talking about relates more to looking within and not allowing either technology or some fallacies about nature, mislead you. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. We are actually people living in a technological age. So there is no rationale in saying things that जैसे मैंने स्टार्टिंग में कहा था that technology is going to destroy us. Okay, nothing's going to happen. At the same time, okay, we are all children of nature. So balance तो वर्ल्ड वॉर और अभी भी चाहिए. It is all about balance. जब हम बैलेंस लूज करते हैं तो अपोकलिप्स की पॉसिबिलिटी बनती है, कैटाक्लिज्म्स की पॉसिबिलिटी.
So you remind me of the words of W.B. Yeats in the second
Am I right?
coming.
Do you agree with me, ma'am?
Yes, sir. And
Thank
you
you,
remind
sir.
me of the words of W.B. Yeats in the second coming, where everything is about the balance of life. Second coming की बात हो गई, sir.
But at the same time, things fall apart. Center cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosened upon the world.
Ji. It is extremely interesting. I mean, I think we could just go on talking and discussing on this topic, sir. Thank you so much. It was so erudite.
Sir, earlier I simply had a query. Simply I had a query that truth itself is a problematic term. That is question number one. Truth is itself a problematic term, that too in this post-truth era, when truth is a flimsy thing. And the senses, humanism is primarily based on the senses and whatever we see, and with every discovery, every invention, we are proved that our preconceived notions, they were perhaps wrong, and we cannot say with authenticity, yes, they were wrong. Simply heliocentric system, geocentric system, you discuss it in detail about that. So
to what extent this humanism in this world is going to flourish and help us? Question number one. And question number two, that this what I say, privacy has one of the biggest casualties of humanity in this technological era. And you see that everything, whatever belongs to us, was considered too intimate in the past, is now on the roadside. And number three, that you referred the books of Yuval Harari, *Sapiens*, and one more book which I suggest the August gathering to read, that *Weapons of Math Destruction* by Cathy O'Neill. And in all these books, I am interested in this artificial intelligence. You are very much optimistic that this is not going to happen, but I am very much pessimistic about that. That certain things have already happened, and more things are happening in the coming future. So I am very much worried about this technological onslaught, technological that invasion on the human beings, and when the time will come that human beings will cease to exist as human beings. What is your take on these my concerns, sir?
Okay. So it is rather more than a question, I think, Professor Vani, it is an observation. I express my agreement and disagreement both with some of them. And yes, but let me first respond to the lady who was speaking before you, who said that it reminds her of Yeats. Yes, I mean, our engagement with technology has been very old. I am, in fact, reminded of Wordsworth, who said, "World is too much with us, late and soon, buying and selling, we lay waste our powers." So it was indeed a very, very thought-provoking idea in the times when industrialism was just beginning. And today, we actually feel that we question ourselves, are we actually laying waste our powers in the pursuit of our materialistic, desires? And then I did briefly refer to Gandhi's approach to science. It was, Gandhi warned us about three things. One, where if technology ceases to provide maximum good to the maximum people on this earth, it loses its meaning. By this, Mr. Vani, I didn't want to spell this out so clearly, but what Gandhi meant was that if technology is monopolized by industry, which is actually happening today, if that part of technology which is which aims to do good to the society is relegated to a less important position, and industrial monopolization of technology takes place to such an extent that 100% use of technology is made for profit generation, then somewhere the entire purpose is lost. Second, he warned that indigenous technology, that is why charkha was the symbol of resistance to imperial power. Indigenous technology is a very important form of technological progress because it is based on the needs, on the ground realities, and not on the greed. And thirdly, he said that if access to technology and lack of access to technology take the form of social hierarchies and divide the world, okay, it will again be a the purpose of scientific and technological. So, Professor Vani, if you have fears that we are heading towards an age when uh, there will be, transition from human to transhuman to cyborgs. So I cannot do much to dispel your fears, but I can just say I don't think that is going to happen. And your question about privacy has to be placed in the larger context of individuality. Okay? I would say that what you are, the term you are using is not entirely, I'm beg to say, it's not entirely appropriate. We need to think in terms of individuality. Okay? And when Orwell was writing 1984 and Animal Farm, he was equally worried about our individuality. And today, also individuality is, but as Marx said, okay, personal and political cannot be separated. So you have to, we are social beings. There is an onslaught on individuality. There, and where is the data mining taking place? Through the industry. Isn't it, sir?
Yes, actually, I was pointing towards that. That what actually human is this body, flesh? Is this structure of bones? Is it the way of thinking, emotions? Because these are emotions, way of thinking. This has already been occupied by the industry itself. The way they made us to think, we think in those terms. The way they want us to feel like that, we feel in these terms. And now the where is that human being in within commas? That is my actually my worry is that.
देखो वानी साहब, आंसर तो ये है ना कि मैंने कहा we need to rethink. So this rethinking has been going on and it needs to go on. That is our predicament. That is our plight. Okay, we constantly have to rethink ourselves. अब देखो आप सेंस परसेप्शंस क्या करेंगी आपकी, जब आपके पास क्वांटम फिजिक्स ने बता दिया कि ऐसे पार्टिकल्स हैं जो कि हमने एटम को ब्रेकअप करके फर्दर पार्टिकल्स में डिवाइड करके और उनके फंक्शंस को भी स्टडी करने लग गए. तो इस तरह से तो मैं इसीलिए टेक्नोलॉजी हैज ऑलवेज बीन अ प्रोस्थेटिक. इट हैज हेल्प्ड अस. नाउ दीस पार्टिकल्स हैव नॉट बीन डिस्कवर्ड बाय द नेकेड आई. They have been found by instruments. So technology as a tool of reaching reality, we have to, this is something which is linked with our evolution, our progress, our life as human beings.
Thank you very much for this elaborate answer and taking my question and in such a beautiful way making me explain. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir, for quelling our fears.
Thank you very much, sir, for this insightful lecture. And
मैं एक ना last share, just a minute.
yes, sir.
Recently, I wrote, as Dilsher said in my introduction, I love to write for newspapers. And recently, I wrote a small article when James Webb Telescope was installed. Uska naam tha Space Exploration and Human Possibilities. And in which I wrote a small piece about how, such developments can have big implications for us. देखो एक सिंपल बात है, ह्यूमन बींग्स की जो इम्पोर्टेंस को कभी कम नहीं किया जा सकता. सुप्रीम क्रिएशन, दो सुप्रीम एक्ट्स हैं, क्रिएशन एंड डिस्ट्रक्शन. हम उसके विटनेस नहीं है, हम उनको अनुभव करते हैं अपनी जिंदगी में बाय टेकिंग बर्थ एंड बाय थ्रू अवर डेथ्स. सो दैट मिस्टर वानी का मुझे लगता है कि अगर आप बर्थ और डेथ को निकाल दो तो हम ह्यूमंस से आगे चल के साइबॉर्ग्स बन सकते हैं. जब तक जीवन और मौत का सवाल है, आपको ह्यूमन बीइंग ही रहना पड़ेगा.
Definitely, sir. Thank you so much, sir, And now it's time, and I'd request my colleague, Dr. Baljeet Singh, to deliver vote of thanks. Now, to Dr. Baljeet.
Thank you, Professor Dilsher for giving me this opportunity to extend a formal vote of thanks on the behalf of the PG Department of English of Shri Guru Tegh Bahadur, Khalsa College Shri Anandpur Sahib. From the core of my heart, I am thankful to all the resource persons from India and abroad who spared their valuable time and delivered their talks on current trends in English language and literature. Since day one of this FDP, they have been disseminating insightful and thought-provoking information relating to the topic of this FDP. Despite having very tight and preoccupied schedule, they all accepted our humble invitation and agreed to deliver their talks. I must say that all of them have achieved an academic excellence in their careers, and they all are class apart. All of them enlightened us, and in very simple and terse language, they made the things easy to understand. So thank you very much. Today we had two sessions. Dr. Sushminder Kaur took first session, and Dr. Ajay Verma was the resource person in the second session. Dr. Sushminder delivered her talk on the topic of partition literature. Undoubtedly, this literature sensitizes everyone, yet this topic is more close to our hearts since we are living in that part of the world which was actually partitioned. Though we say India was partitioned in 1947, but actually only the state of Punjab was partitioned, and people living in both the Punjabs, I mean East Punjab, that is in India, and the West Punjab, that is in Pakistan, they can feel the trauma in real sense. Dr. Sushminder discussed various aspects of partition literature, and she simplified the topic for all of us. So thank you very much, ma'am. On the other hand, Dr. Ajay Verma, he delivered his talk on the topic of post-humanism. It is important to understand that humanity is facing a challenge in the form of technological advancement, where human beings can be radically altered by implants, cognitive enhancement, and biomedical technology. Dr. Ajay Verma has aptly stressed that the position of human beings is to be redefined in such scenario. His talk was thought-provoking and riveting. On the personal note, I would like to add that Dr. Ajay treats me like his younger brother, and despite getting the invitation on very short notice, he readily agreed to be with us. Therefore, we all are thankful to him. As far as today's lecture is concerned, it was very engrossing and knowledgeable. I am grateful to Dr. Verma, who helped us to understand the topic in a better way. A big thanks also goes to all the participants for showing their keen interest in our endeavor and participating so overwhelmingly. We could never achieve our desired goals had you not participated in such a great number. So thank you all the participants. I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our worthy principal, Dr. Jasveer Singh ji, who encouraged us to organize this FDP. The idea of organizing an online would never have translated into reality if he had not motivated us. We all are indebted to him for bringing us. I must be failing in my duties if I do not notify computer science department of our of clinical circumstances to various online platforms or being connected, and it could happen only because of the head of and his fire team. Thank you very much for your generosity. Thankful to our conceived the idea and gave it not the least, the entire faculty needs special mention for execution items. Thank you everyone from my own department. Thank you all for being with us. We will cherish the speech and best in future. So thank you very much.
Excuse me, sir.
Anita madam, please mute your
Excuse me,
mic.
sir.
Yes.
Sir, I'd like to know when would we receive our certificate for this course?
Very soon you will be provided the certificates within a couple of days. Thank you, Ajay sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
As a participant of this FDP, I thank all the organizers who wonderfully conducted this program, and the choice of resource person was such wonderful that we kept glued with our systems to listen to them, and you shared their email IDs and sometimes phone numbers. We are highly thankful to you and we look forward for such good programs in future as well. Keep our numbers with you, and whenever there is any program, you are going to conduct it kindly. Thank you very much.